All right, so I welcome all of us once again. Good morning, Mr. Sage. Thanks for joining today. All right, so for the last three classes, we have been on some important functions in a cell, which are classified under lookup functions. What we have been trying to develop with this set of functions, a system that can help, let's say, an organization to analyze their data. So we started from the vertical lookup, where we were taught how to search for record of value across column only in one direction, which is the positive direction. So that was a limitation of the VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP could not help us to search the other direction, which is the negative direction. Then we also talked about HLOOKUP, which is for searching across rows, which means horizontally arrange data. And then we discover some limitation which the VLOOKUP and the HLOOKUP could not perform certain searching for us. So as a result of that, we brought in another function which can do the work of both VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. That function is called SLOOKUP. So I told us that the SLOOKUP was introduced probably in 2018 or 19. So it's a new function. That is the reason why if you are using a self version, probably lower than 2020 or 2019, you probably not have the function stored in the application library. So you may have to install it from an external source, which I took us through. So there was a GitHub platform that I connected to where I was able to download the plugin that ended up giving me access to that SLOOKUP. If you watch the video, you come across all this that I have said. So this is where we actually started from. This was where we talk about the HLOOKUP. Then finally, this is where we talk about the SLOOKUP. If you go through the video, you also find out the additional arguments to the SLOOKUP, which are not found in the HLOOKUP, neither the VLOOKUP. Then here is like the summary of these three functions. So VLOOKUP searches vertically and return a value from another column, while HLOOKUP searches horizontally and return a value from another row. Then SLOOKUP is a more flexible and powerful function that can search vertically or horizontally and return a value from another column or row. So for someone who understands how to use the SLOOKUP, you might do away with the first two. There might not be need for you to even consult the first two. That is the idea actually. Now, this morning, we are starting a new topic. After this topic, we have one more topic. And that is why I will beg all of us not to miss that tomorrow class. Tomorrow class, I'll be starting the last topic in Excel. So probably by next week, I should be entering Python. So the last topic we shall be looking at tomorrow is one of the single topic that houses almost all the main functions for data analysis in Excel, which is called pivot table. So please, you must not miss that class. I'll be starting that tomorrow. But this morning, I want to focus on one so that it will not be too much for us. So we are looking at our data analysis with conditional formatting. So conditional formatting is one of the advanced functions in Excel. But I want us to understand the word formatting. And once we understand what formatting is, it will be very, very simple for us to understand what is called conditional formatting. Now, in computing, particularly when you are processing data or word, the word formatting means transformation, changes. But we all know that when you are dealing with disks or drive, if you use this same word, formatting, it means something else. It means erasing or deleting the content in the storage. But as far as word processing is concerned, the word formatting means to transform, to update, to change your entry. Now, if we now link it to conditional formatting, it means that it is a transformation that is based on a specified condition. In other words, it's no longer general formatting, where you could just highlight a range of cells and then you just give them a white color or black background color. There's no condition. Or let's say the condition there is that you highlighted all, but that is not what we are looking at. We are looking at a situation whereby you have a sales inventory and you want to program a unique way of categorizing your customers. For example, I'm just using that as the best scenario. You have some customers that are probably due for their payment. You have some that will be due for their payment, probably maybe next week. And then you have some that are balanced up. Now, when you have all this record in one data frame, how do you program in Excel in such a way that once you see a particular appearance or design, you know the type of customer in terms of what I just said now. How do you differentiate those ones that are owing you? How do you differentiate those ones that will be due for payment next week? And how do you differentiate those ones that are not even owing you at all? So that is where conditional formatting comes in. Now, let's quickly look at the objective of this topic so that we can understand what is our target. Student will understand what conditional formatting is, why it is useful, and how to apply it to highlight data patterns, trends, or specific condition in Excel. So that is the objective. Now, what is conditional formatting? By definition, conditional formatting in a cell is a feature that changes the appearance, remember I've highlighted that before, of cells. And how is it going to change the appearance? Probably by adding what? Or programming different fonts, different color, different border, or even different background color, just to be able to segment your record based on a specific condition or criteria. That's the keyword. So this is you transforming or formatting your data based on specific conditions. So we are going to define, we are going to program, we are going to write formula. There are presets. Preset means there are some already made uh, uh, rules that Excel have already built. But if you are working in an office, most of these rules will not be able to answer your tasks. And that is why you don't just learn how to exploit those default rules. You need to also learn how to program a rule that satisfies your tasks. Now, the purpose to make mixed data analysis easier by visually identifying trend, outliers, or critical information. I want to believe if you have been following the class from the beginning, there are some terms that shouldn't be strange to you. So when I use the word trend, it means what? The most occurring parameter or event. When I use the word outlier, that also represents correlation. That is what? How the relationship between these trending are variables. And then remember, we also mentioned pattern. Pattern could be the progressive trending or the regressive trending. So pattern is talking about the shape the trending is forming, either declining or progressing. So these are some terms that I have already explained. Now, why use conditional formatting as data analysts? One, to highlight important data like top to bottom value, which is what I just explained from the beginning. So a professional can actually determine what he or she wants to achieve with the conditional formatting. So you look at the data given to you, and then you should be able to draft out or imagine what you can do with conditional formatting. Number two, show trend and pattern with color scales, icon sets, or even data bar. We are going to see all this. Now, number three, draw attention to errors or outliers. So there are some, there are some conditions you can program whereby you can specify a particular error existence within your data. So once you see a row highlighted with that color, you know that there is an error. So you be the one to define it. So it helps you to check. Now, improve readability of large data sets. You see, at the end of this topic, we can link it with another set of tools which are grouped under database management tools, where we have filter and where we have sorting, particularly filter. Now, where I will link it to filter is this. Supposing like the scenario I used the other time, I have a data, a sales inventory, and in that sales inventory, I have already conditionally formatted my customers, meaning that you have already differentiated them. The ones that are owing you, you already know them. Now, they are all still in that data set. Now, supposing you are asked to display only customers that will be due for payment next week. Now that you have been able to uniquely identify them with your formatting, you can now use filter by that color or that appearance, and that will automatically call out only record that matches that criteria. That is what you will have used. That is what you will have used the normal filter, where you say filter based on you select, maybe you start selecting your criteria. But once you have conditionally formatted your data, it helps you to what? To filter. It helps you to retrieve certain data from or record from your data set. All right, so now that we understand the concepts around conditional formatting, now we now go straight to our data where we shall be implementing what I have said so far. So this is the simple data I want to work with. So this is part of the data we have been working with. You have it, which is the sales inventory, sorry, the salary payroll. So I actually reduce the frame. I remove some columns, some attributes. Now, this is a salary payroll where I have employees names, employees ID, states they are from, their gender, department, status, grade, hire dates, and then basic salary. So there are a lot of things I can do here with conditional formatting. So let me just point them out before I start implementing them. I can be asked, I'm focusing on this column now, what I can do with conditional formatting on this column. We have salary ranges from 100,000 to 120,000, 150,000, and then 200,000. I think the highest salary there is 200,000. Now, supposing I am asked to uniquely identify only staffs that are any 100,000. So once I look at the sheet like this, I should be able to see or define or identify staffs that are any salary. I want their row, the entire row. Once you are any 100,000 like this, the entire row will have a particular style that will differentiate it from what? Another set of staff earning another value. So with this now, I can use conditional formatting to uniquely identify staffs earning 100,000. So I can program another format to identify staff earning 120, program another format to identify staffs earning 130. Now, there must be a default. You can see that while I was explaining a different level of conditional formatting I can program, I did not mention the last one, which is 200. There's a reason. There must be one that is having the default appearance. And what is the default appearance? The default appearance is the background color is white and the text color is black. So one of them must have the default appearance. You must not transform all. All right. So now that is understood, so let's go straight to the application. So what are the steps that are, okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Okay.
I'd like to know why is it a law or a rule that one of them must have a default appearance?
Okay, so in the simple way I can explain it, one, that is the criteria attached to that function, that you must have a default. And the reason why that default is necessary, in case the condition is not met, then there must be an appearance that satisfies that particular situation. Is it clear, sir?
I think in case the condition is not met.
Yes, for
That
example, now if you program condition for all, if you program condition for all, so just like false value, just like remember we talked about when we were on the if function, I talk about having a true value and having a false value. So this particular function is still under conditional function in a cell where you have to define your true value and your false value. So your true value, it is what will happen when the condition or the criteria specified is met. Then your false value is what will happen if it doesn't meet the criteria. So that default is actually referred to the false. So once you meet the criteria, then changes occur. Then if it doesn't, then it falls back to that default. Exactly.
Not very clear, but I'm just picturing it. Maybe when you start applying it.
Okay. All right. So you can just hold that for now. Mr. Osage, you want to say something? Okay. All right. Now, the steps. The steps. Let's hold on for Glory to fully join. Okay. Now, how do we apply it? Step number one, you highlight the entire data frame.
Sorry, I was logged out. Oh. I don't know where. I don't
Yes,
know if I
yes, yes.
missed
No, I
anything.
was answering this question. I'm just starting. I was answering this question where he said, why is it that one of them must be left default without programming a style for it? So I told him that there is a rule of the function that you must not transform all the value. There must be one that will act as the first value in case the condition is not met. Are you with us now? It's Glory. Are
Yes,
you?
sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir. Yes.
okay. So I'm looking at the application now. I said your first step is to highlight your entire data frame because this command is going to be searching just like that lookup and the rest. It's going to be searching. So you need to define the frame, the limit, the boundary for the search. So once you define your condition, it will take that condition and scan through the entire data set while looking for the criteria, the condition that satisfy what you define. So that's why you must highlight the entire data set and remember the techniques that I gave to us when it comes to highlighting the entire data set. Just hold and select where you want to start your selection from. Like I have done here, I just click here because this is the first heading and that is the first cell. So once your active cell is on that particular location where you want to start from, you hold down the control button on your keyboard, then together with the shift button on your keyboard. Then you first of all highlight either vertically or horizontally. So if I want to highlight the entire length of the data, I use while you are holding down the two button, control and shift, you press the right arrow button. That will give you the horizontal selection. Now, while you are still holding down the control and the shift button, you press down the down arrow. That will select the entire data vertically. Now, that is the first step. That is the first step. So once you have what these steps have done is to define the boundary, the limitation in which the command is going to search for the condition you are going to program. So once that is settled, the next step is for you to go to Home tab, which we are in right now. From Home tab, you will see the function conditional formatting. Now, once you click on the function, these are the presets I spoke about while I was in my slide. So these are some common scenarios that Excel has assumed that might meet your criteria or your task in your office. But if, for example, now you are saying that you want to highlight where value, these are actually grouped. We have highlight cell rules, we have top, bottom rules, we have data bar rules, we have color scale rules, we have icon set rules, and then if any of these rules cannot actually meet your tax, then you have to create the rule. The rule here, they are nothing but what? The functions. So let me just apply one of them. Like I said, your emphasis should be on how to develop rules, because from experience, I discovered that most of this does not always match the tasks given to you in your office. For example, now let me just implement one here so that you know how to implement the default rule before I proceed to defining our new rules. So under highlight cell rule, supposing I am asked to highlight certain value greater than, so if I click here, it will bring out a dialog box. A dialog box is a prompted interface that gives you options to choose from. So the options are expected to be considered according to what you intend to achieve. So now, but they will always come with certain default, like you can see on the data. Certain things has been changed. You can see that we are having some value highlighted with red and some are not highlighted based on this condition. So let me show you, because if you are smart, you can even customize this. Now, what this current one is saying is, what is your condition? You know, here I just selected the entire data. Now, selecting the entire data, it means that what? Light cell, full width, dark. So if I click here now, you see different what? Color based on the preset. But if I am asked what condition I am actually using to determine this appearance, remember we say what? Cell greater than. So we have not defined the value. So we are supposed to type it here. So if I am targeting, in this case now, we'll have just highlighted only that basic salary column, not highlighting all. Now I can say, based on what I have here, I want only cells that are greater than 130, because we have 100,000, we have 120, we have 130. So only cells that are greater than 120, meaning that it will include 130,000 and 200, and that will exclude 100,000. So let me put that 130,000. So they are the only one that should have what? The appearance I am going to choose here. So if I choose, let's say this, and then I click OK. So let's click.
Sorry, you typed 13,000.
Okay, no wonder I did not see any impact. I will have still find that. Now, once you define a rule, just like I did now, that I make mistake now, how do I view it so that I can edit it instead of me starting afresh? I'll simply come here and go to manage rule. So from here, I will view all the rule. But because I pick from the default, that is why no rule is listed. So I have to go back, because I'm choosing from the default. So come back here, select this. Remember, we selected this. Okay. So let's say what? 130,000. Okay. Now you can see in that basic salary column, you can see only value greater than the specified value, which is 130,000 highlighted. You can see them here. If you scroll down, you see the rest. Like I told us, I ought not to select everything, so I will have just selected only this column. But I just want to use that to show you how you can easily apply the default. You can say top 10 or 10 bottom, or top bottom rule. So let's say what? Top 10 item. Top 10 item should be formatted, if you have selected a column value, should be formatted with this. So where you have that is, you are supposed to select it like this, like I said. And then by the time you come back here and select, okay, top 10 item, do we have up to top 10? We just have 3 categories. So let me click here. I can reduce it to what? Top 2, and then the top 2. This time around, I want to show us how you can define your own style instead of just choosing from this. You go to custom format where you are not okay with any of those color. So once you click on custom format, then it opens up this dialog box. So from here, if it is value, you can define the number. Maybe you want it to be in currency, like we have it there, Naira sign. But my focus should be on font for now. I choose the handwriting for the value that will meet the criteria that we are defining there, the top two. Then once I've done that, I can choose the text color I want them to have. After that, I'll go to fill to choose a background color just to also make them stand out. So let's say what the color will be. But when you look at this now, our font color need to change in order to go with the background color. Okay, the text color is red and the background color I choose was blue. So let me choose white. Then that will be a good combination. So once I click OK, you see it now being applied. The top two only, top two. So the top two, let's check whether it will highlight one that is top two. Okay, 200 are the only one. Okay, yes, 200. And which one again? I think 200 only are selected. Well, that's supposed to give us the top two we have here should be 200 and 150. Okay, so that is why you have to know how to program your own rule. I'm just trying to show us this. I don't know whether I was going to make a mistake to select one. Actually, any observation?
Please, how did you select top two?
So this is what I did. I followed this category of predefined rules, and then I pick what? Top 10 item. If I want to use percentage, there are other options. Take your time to go through them. Now you click here, then it brought out top 10, like we picked from there. So I reduce it. I reduce it to top 2 or top 1, or let's say, let me just put top 3. And then what I did is that instead of choosing from this freestyle, I choose to click on custom format so that I can choose my color myself. That's what I did. So I first of all came to fonts and choose the handwriting just to make them bold, and then choose the text color to, let's say, white. And then I now moved to fill to specify the background. I also want to differentiate them with background color. So I can choose red, then I click OK. Then after that, and then I applied. So you can see it here. So it actually, I don't know, this one is the previous one, but let's check again if we have. That is how I came about what the top two. Now, but there's something happening here. So it's not as if it's not working, it's working, but it tries to differentiate with the first top, that is the highest, by reducing the background color. You can see this is, you can see the background, the red is full here. So the command is very sensitive. The red is full to show you the highest out of the top two. Then the one that follow, you can see it reduce the background so that you can differentiate it. So with this, I believe the command is working perfectly. Any question? Any question? Please ask question. If there's no question, let me move to how to define our own rule, because that is where we need to. Any question?
I just want to request that we will not be too fast so that we can follow.
Am I too fast like this? I'm not fast.
That's my observation. I don't know for my colleague.
Because we are not practicing. We are not growing. We are not practicing. if we practice, don't think the speed is too much. We are just accumulating the video. By now, you guys will have become a, let's say, 40% professional. That is the reason why I was advising people should keep practicing. That is the only way. Okay. All right. So now I want to clear all this. Let me clear all these formats and return the data to the initial status. Now, I don't want to go there and undo. So what I simply did now is to highlight the entire data and use a command to delete all the style automatically by coming to Home tab and then select Clear. Once you click on Clear, if you select Clear All, it means that you are deleting both the style and the content in the cells. So you go to Clear Format in order to specify that it's only format you want to clear. So with this, I have automatically turned off all the changes. Now, the aspect we are going to now is how to format with rules, with defined rules. Like I was saying, let's assume that none of this could give you what you wanted. Then you fall back to what? New rule. So you have to define your rule. And all these rules should go with your analysis question or task. So you should be able to identify what you want to do first. So it's not just by rushing to the rules. So just to work in that same manner, this is the data set I am given. And I am asked to program, I'm asked to style all the trainee, okay, let's say operations departments. I want to differentiate them. I'm out to style all the employee working under operation department. I want to style them with red background color, white text color. So what we are saying is that at the end of our implementation, if I trace this Amara as one of the employee, once under department is operation, it will highlight the whole of that row with background color red and text color white. Then anywhere I have that operation, all the operation, I will be giving them that same word style as a way of differentiating them, because there could be a sub or a standard analysis question that will arise later. Because after, or maybe my major target is, I want to be able to filter out only employees that are working in operations departments. So my target is not actually to highlight them. My target is that, okay, I want to, first of all, differentiate them. I want to uniquely identify them so that when I want to perform my filtering, I can easily use their appearance to filter them out. So, and the main question you are asking is how many of them are in this data set? So instead of you using one of the functions we have already covered, which is count if, so I can program conditional formatting to uniquely identify those employees in this data set. Then I can now use filter to fetch them out. And then, of course, I can just highlight them. In fact, once I fetch them out, a cell at the bottom here on your taskbar will give you the breakdown of the visible value. So with that, you just go to your PowerPoint or your note and note down your observation. Then you style another set of people, let's say, because at the end of the day, you are going to present your executive report that will tell the organization how many employees are in each of these departments. So I can program operation with different style, marketing with another style, audit with another style. Then I can now use the filter to filter them out simultaneously. So that is what I want to target. That is my objective. So you must identify what you want to do, because that is what will guide you on writing that function that I'm going to write now. I'm going to customize the function in order to highlight all the employee working in operations department. So with that acknowledgement, the next thing I'm going to do, you highlight the entire data frame like we did. After that, you click on your home tab and then click on the same conditional formatting. So from here, you click on new rule. Why are you clicking on new rule? Because none of the presets, the default, satisfy that particular word tax. So I have to define it. There is no one I can click there that will answer that question. They are all talking about highlighting top 10, bottom, and the rest. So no one is specifically addressing my question. So that is why I have to call in this so that I can build my formula. Now, once you click on it, then it prompts out this dialog box. So this dialog box is very important. You understand how it works. Some of the options here, they are still related to the presets they already made. So you have to bypass all this. But they can answer some questions anyway. For example, now, format cell based on their value. That will take you to that highlight cell. For example, now we also have format only cell that contain. Then if you are working with, let's say, state now, I can say format only cell that contains C. Or if I want to specify data, I'll say format only cell that contains D. That is where I am 100% sure that there is no other state that starts with D. But if I know that I have any other state that start with D, so what I'm going to do, I will add two letters, let's say DE. So definitely I may not have any state that will start with what? DE. But these are some assumptions you need to make before you know the exact letter if you are using that second option. So format only top, this is going to connect us to the one we have applied. The format only value that are above or below average, that will also connect us to the one I have treated, which is the default. Format only unique or duplicate value, that is repeated value. So all these, you have to just take them based on what you are doing in your office. At the level of training like this, most of these things, if you are not in the field, if you are not working in the office, you may not really understand most of it. But if you are working in the office, you will understand what the situation whereby you can involve all of this. Then now, here, use a formula to determine which cell to format. This is the option we are going for. The moment I click on that option, you can see that what? No default. You can see that while we were here the other time, they gave us a kind of editing or editable text boxes where we can define our rules. But once you click here, you'll be given what? Empty cell, because you are saying that none of those default rules can handle the task. So I want to program it. Now, the next thing is for you to write the formula. Remember the question we are answering. You must always picture the question once you get to this particular place. The question is that all the employee working in operation department should be highlighted with red background and white text color. That is how we want to differentiate them. So that is a condition. Now, what I'm going to do is to enter equals to. Equals to is a rule in a cell that says or that helps a cell engine to identify the type of data you are entering. Because we have number, we have label, which are text, and then we have formula as entries that are allowed to be entered on a Excel worksheet. So how do you tell Excel that what I'm writing is a formula? Is by starting with what? Equals to or plus sign. But I'm using equals to because plus sign can affect negative side to end up giving me what? Another translation. So now equals to, once you have entered the equals to, then we are going to reference the argument where the condition is. The value for the condition, where are they located in your data set? That is what you enter. Now, because Excel knows, like I mentioned in one of the classes, I said you don't have to highlight everything here. Once I touch here now, what I have done now is that the condition that will determine the formatting is employee equals to operation department. And that operation is going to be the criteria that will determine the rows that will be formatted. So what I've done here now is to tell Excel that this is where the condition that will be used to format the rows, the values are. So it does not really mean that even if the first record is marketing, you are to select the first cell. So it does not mean that if you have operation here, let's assume that I replace this operation with marketing, and then I'm not having the operation somewhere where I have compliance. It does not mean that you now trace it to where you have it and click. If you click here, it means that it will start from here downward. It will exclude any other operation above it. So you always start with the first cell, because what you are doing here, you are only referencing the range where you have the conditional value stored. So it does not mean whether you are selecting operation. Please take note of that. So it happened that operation is the first one in this case now. Now, there is what we call absolute argument and dynamic argument. I want us to pay attention here. Absolute argument, in the first place, let me find out if we know what is called argument first, because I've explained it before. Can somebody unmute and tell us what is argument? I've explained that before. Okay, let me call name. Miss Glory, can you tell us what is argument? You know, I've been using this term since. Miss Glory, can you tell us what is argument? If she's not here, Mr. Jolly, please, can you tell us what is argument? Are we here? Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, I can hear you. What is argument?
Argument,
Hmm.
like okay, like it means the basis. I say the basis now, that the parameters through which you can use to pass a function also.
Okay, you are making sense, but it's too logical the way you are putting it. It's unlogical. Okay, so let's bring it to a layman understanding. Arguments are the words, the values, the cell range. In this case, now when I say argument, that's what where you have the value, like the whole of this. If you select from this cell E2 to cell E8, they are now the arguments. And this argument, like she mentioned, they are the parameter you give to the function. They are part of the data you supply. Now, so when I said we have absolute arguments, we have some argument. An absolute argument is an argument that carry $sign. Look at this place now. Now, if you look at this argument now, I can have E2, if I want us to focus here, I can have E2. That means that if it is E2, $sign is not attached to it. So if it is E2, it is dynamic argument. It means that what? The values will change. Please, Miss Glory, please, you can mute yourself if you're not. You have question? I've muted you anyway. Now,
Okay, sorry. Please, this after the equals to, where did you get this SE? I'm
By
trying to.
choosing the range where the conditional statements reside. The condition we want to use to highlight the entire row is based on which department is selected. And our analysis question says that in this data frame, all the employees that are working under operation as one of the departments should be formatted with red background color and white text color. So which means that the coloring of the rows depends on which department is selected in your formula. That is why I click on this first cell under department. And I said it must not be exactly the condition you want to use. Right now, okay, I think I need to do something so that we understand it. Let me remove this. Let me put market in here. Now, we have it like this now. Let me go back. Select the entire data frame. Click on Home tab. Select Conditional Formatting. Go to New Rows. And then go straight to the last option here. Then I type equals to, which is a row that states that you are working with what? Formula. And then you can see, now I want to define the range where is the conditional value is located within this cell. What will determine the cell that to be formatted with the red background and white? They are what? In department. So I pick the first cell. So what I will have done, if I don't understand that a cell will factor out all the value, I will have done something like this, trying to highlight everything. So that you know that what you are actually defining after the equals to is the range, not the condition. Where the condition value is, that is what you are defining right now. But because I understand that I don't need to highlight all the value, once I pick the first one, a cell knows that I am referring to what? All the value in that column. So what we are telling Excel is that within this range from that cell E2 to the last record, that is where you are going to search for operation that will determine whether the cell should be formatted with red background or white text color. Now, I was not talking about the argument type. If it carry $sign like you have it now, it means that what? It is an absolute argument. An absolute argument means what? Fixed, locked. So what we are saying is that you are telling a cell that it is only when operation is in this row that you can highlight it with what? Red background. So which means that by the time we implement it, it will not see this operation here. It will not locate it and give you that appearance because it's not in the first row because you lock it. So that $sign means what? You have limited a cell to search only in that column because the E represents column. Then that $2 means that you have limited a cell to search only in that row. But we have to leave the $sign attached to the E, which represents column, and delete the one that is attached to the row, which is 2. You must not leave both of them. If you leave both of them, it means that what? It will only search within that row. Now, what I've done is this. Why did I remove the $sign attached to the 2? Because I want the row to be dynamic. That is what? Is to search across all the rows. So I left it open. Now, but you should not search for operation outside this column E. In other words, in fact, there cannot be operation here. So in case somebody type operation here, you should not look into it. You are limited to search for operation in this column. That is what we have done by adding that $sign to that E. Now, if I also remove the $sign from E, this is dynamic argument where there is no $sign at all. So which means that what? you are leaving the column open. That is what the function have the privilege of searching across all the column and searching across all the rows. But that is not what we want. We want to lock it on what? Column E, and leave it open to search across all the rows, so that by the time you finish checking this row, if you cannot find operation here, then you should continue the searching until it gets to the last record. So that is what you are saying here. Now, once you have done that, you will now bring in another equals to, because that first
All right, so let's quickly implement that correction. So what was actually happening was, it's not as if we're actually totally wrong, but Excel could not, the Excel AI could not understand or read our mind. So you highlight the entire record. If you like, you can include the header, or better still, just highlight only the body of the record. So once you have done that, like I have explained before, go to conditional formatting and select new rule to define your condition for formatting all the employees from operation departments with red background color and white text color. So you click here. Then of course, I'll just highlight all the values I have here. Highlight all the value, remove the $sign from all the number, which means that we are leaving the rows open so that the command can search across all the record, and then we are locking the column. That is, the command cannot search for operation outside this column. That is the reason why we did not remove the $sign attached to the E column. Now, after that, we proceed to the formatting. So choose, let's go for font. Let's go to font and choose the text color to be white. And then, of course, let me quickly go back to fill and choose red background color. And then click. But before this, you need to state the formula. Sorry, the criteria. After this, equals to. So what the communication here is that the conditional formatting as a function search from cell E2 to cell E151 record. Now, then what you are about doing now is to define the condition that if this is to define the condition that will determine which of these rows will be formatted with this appearance that we have here. So what I'm going to do is to select the first operation from the data set. This is the first operation. So you click on it, then of course you click OK. So by the time you click, you see that what the command have worked correctly. You can see that under department, only record that are operation that are highlighted with the red background. So this is actually how you can apply it. So try and practice the entire video from the beginning to this moment, and then probably by tomorrow morning, we'll continue from there. There are other functions that can be used to format your record conditionally. Thank you.